Welcome to our channel, SHÉSTYLÉ. If you love to learn wisdom, please just subscribe us. Today we are going to learn Noah and the flood.
The story of Noah and the flood is probably very familiar one. Most of all, as young children learn about the animals coming on board the great ark 2 by 2. We see pictures of doves, rainbows, and Noah smiling next to his wife when the sun comes out.
These are indeed great points of the story to remember, but there is no much more to think about than just the happy ending. Consider with me the reason behind the flood. Genesis chapter 6 verse 5 to 6 said that the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that he was grieved in his heart. The Bible says that God was so sorry his creation and become evil that he decided to destroy it all, except, and this is a good part, Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Noah was a just man, perfect in his generation. Noah walked with God.
Genesis 6 through 8 and 9 says, Noah is a great example to a man with a profound faith. Hebrews 11 says of him, by faith Noah, being divinely warned of things not yet seen, moved with God, feared, prepared an ark for the saving of the household, which he condemned the world and became heir of righteousness, which is according to faith, and is result of his godliness was the human race, and living creatures of the ark were saved from destruction. You see, the Bible says that the flood was so bad that all flesh died that moves on earth. All in those nostrils was breathing of the spirit of life. That was on the dry land died. Only Noah and those who were with him in the ark remained alive.
When did Noah enter the ark? The Bible says Noah was 600 years old when the flood of water was on the earth. Genesis chapter 7 verse 6 and 11. Counting genealogies in the Bible, we believe it was 2349 BC when the flood started. How long did the flood last? Well, this part can be confusing. The Bible tells us that it remained for 40 days and 40 nights, but the flood lasted much longer than that. It took a long time for all that water to subside and allow dry land to appear. Noah and his family were on the ark for over a year. With all those animals, it probably smelled.
The ending of the story of Noah's ark is tremendous. The Lord made a profound promise to after the flood. Genesis 9:10 says, and 3:11 says, For me, behold, I establish my covenant with you and with all your descendants after you, that's us. Never again shall all the flesh be cut off from the water of the flood. Never again shall there be a flood
To destroy the earth.
And the Lord placed a rainbow in the sky to remind us of its covenant. It was no wonder that rainbows are so beautiful. They come from God. You should also know historical reasons many cultures that have stories about floods in their history, as many as 270 flood stories are known in the world. There are stories in India, China, the land, the islands of the Pacific Ocean, and the
Native American folklore about people who survived a great flood. The names of the survivors vary, but the storyline is much the same. Kind of interesting, don't you think? As a Christian, I believe it is important to grasp the facts of the flood because it helps to support the validity of the Bible. Fossil records all over the world demonstrate that at one time, water could have covered the whole earth. For example, sea fossils have been found on the tops of the mountain. How did they travel there? A worldwide flood could explain it.
The flood could also help explain what appears to be a
The aging of
the earth. Other words of the world might look older than it
is
because it is a damage of the Great Flood. Scientists don't agree on this matter.
In closing, when you hear the story of Noah, does it remind you of another one? We often see God repeating things in history so that we understand them better. Think about Noah again. God saved the whole world through this one man. God does this again later through Jesus Christ. That is what we call a parallel in history. I think the moral of the story is that God really does hate sin, but He will provide salvation from it.